I think it's the best decision I made for my business was to use Miles. We're stuck at 300 grand and now we're at we're at a mil. And right now is not even the busy season, so there's a lot more to be had, a lot more scaling that I want to do this year.
A
Uh,
client for a couple of years now, since 2024. We're gonna walk through the progress update because you've scaled and grown your business a lot since the last time we talked. That was just in October, so just a few months ago, and so it warrants an updated progress report. So before we dive in, Caleb, you want to just share a little bit about your company, what you do?
sure. Well, yeah, I'm Caleb. I run Property Wash in Paradise along with Paradise Painters. That one hasn't been launched just yet, but I'm working with Miles to pretty much get the framework in place. What we do is exterior cleaning, exterior repaints, and possibly moving into interiors, but just focused on exteriors right now.
Nice, nice exteriors. Yeah, and you do yeah, roof repaint and exterior, a lot of mostly residential, but you also do commercial as
A
well.
few commercials, so we technically don't have the contractor's license just yet. That should be in place next month. We should have our full contractor's license, and that's when we're going to actually make a push. Right now, we have been mainly doing residentials, focused on roof repaints um, and roof cleanings.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, those two go hand in hand, especially here in Hawaii. So yeah, I want you to like take me back to before we started working together. Like what was your day to day like, and what kind of challenges were you facing, and what kind of revenue were you at?
Okay. So before we started working together, it would be earlier 2024. During that time, it was a lot more chaotic. Um, I think the biggest hurdle at that time was not wanting to pay for help, essentially. I was trying to run my ads myself. I was trying to manage them, which was pretty bad. um, so I had no tracking in place. I had no pixel for my Facebook, and I had no Google tracking as well. So I thought I was able to manage it and be efficient with my actual ads. The reason I reached out was because my ads stopped working. My competition started running their own ads. I started having a lot more just issues. Things that were working in 22, 23 just stopped. My simple ads of people working, it just stopped working. So I looked up companies to try run it, manage it, and just finding one that I kind of clicked with was pretty difficult. No one that was really specialized in service-based businesses. Um, and then during that time, yeah, actually, I was just spread super thin. During that time, I was at so 23, 24, I hit a plateau capped out at 297 and 300. So within that 300 range. I was still working in the field, still trying to just do the day to day. It was just inefficient. uh, Things I seen online and YouTube was that you have to start delegating or just get people in place to kind of help. My skill set was more so doing the cleaning, doing the repaint, and yeah, that was kind of my skill set. Closing deals. So trying to think how I came across here. I think I'm pretty much found you on Google. We're located in kind of a smaller town. There isn't the most amount of specialized individuals, and I even came across a few companies out in Oahu, a lot larger of a city. It's completely different island, and I didn't really vibe well with the meetings I had with other individuals. It seemed like I kind of knew a bit more than them. So just questions I was asking, how they would approach things. They had a bit of hesitation. They just didn't seem like they really knew what they're talking about. And it was quite different when I actually hopped onto a video call with Miles. He was asking me questions I didn't know the answer to, and I didn't even know what the hell he was even saying to me, to be quite frank. So that was kind of a green flag. And just when I gave him my problems of my ads aren't doing as well, my rankings are hurting, he already had answers for it. It wasn't him mumbling or stumbling for figuring out how to come across it. He delved a little bit deeper into the business of why I might be having issues. And then once he kind of found out what I was having issues with, he already had a plan in place or steps to follow. Um, yeah. Before we started working together, it was just I was just red thin. I was just so burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff, right? You're doing the lead generation, the marketing, the management of it all, and then the teams and the hiring. And so, how many people or crews or how many people did you have working with you back then?
One person.
Oh, yeah.
I actually we might add three. I can't remember. It's only 2 years, but it feels like a long time already.
Yeah.
At that point in time, yeah, it was either myself and one other person, or we had two other, so a total of three. Um, but yeah, at that time, schedule wasn't even fully filled out. It was me just scrapping to try to get prices, like cutting my price, lowballing the market essentially. Where if I heard any hesitation within the person's voice, the contact, I'll be like, oh, but you can get 15% off, like just underselling the product. And even though we were doing great work, just I didn't have that confidence and I didn't have that consistent lead flow to lose jobs. I was trying to close everything. I know that you're not supposed to close everything. If you close everything, your price is too low. But I
Right.
just didn't have the volume to sustain what I had at that time. Instead of the guys working 40 plus hours, it was like, here's a paycheck for 25 hours. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was your like how did you think about the market here? Like did you feel like it was kind of already tapped out?
I did. Uh, yeah, I mean, I really thought that the market was flooded with my ads. Because I was just throwing so much money into Google, into Facebook, that I really did think it was tapped out, that we already hit everybody, that they didn't need service. Yeah.
Got it, got it. And had you tried like the Angie or Thumbtack or Home Advisor stuff?
Um, Never got into Angie Thumbtack. Well, they've definitely reached out a whole bunch of times. Definitely saw some less than savory stories about them. So the main one that I did spend a little bit of money is Yelp, which is terrible. If you're thinking about using Yelp, please stay away from Yelp. They're fucking terrible. If they charge you to put a logo on, they're a terrible company.
Yeah. Yeah, and had you worked with any other marketing people or agencies before?
Yeah. So I have worked with a marketing and web individual in the past. For the marketing was I'm not sure if he's still around, but he had a YouTube channel. He had an ad agency as well on top of his pressure washing business, and their services were very surface level. At that time, it did help, but essentially the advice that they gave and the framework was post on Craigslist, post on Facebook, use emojis. And funny enough, the emojis did help. So that's part of my marketing plan in 2022, 23, and part of 24 was like, oh, put emojis, put a yeah, honestly, it had return and then the emoji stopped working.
Oh, oh shoot.
Yeah, that was like the main thing I got from using their service, and they're very hands off. That's very much, hey, good luck trying to get in contact with them again. It's just difficult.
Got it. Got it. And so what kind of results did you get from, I mean, you used emojis, like did that work or what
It worked
what
for
was
a
it?
little, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely helped a bit more during that point in time. I also talked to a friend that had ran his own stuff too. He gave me a little bit pointers that honestly helped me more than the emojis. And then as far as the website development, I did have somebody. So my original website was built off of Wix. I built it myself. Then I paid a company to revamp it, build it out onto WordPress, which we've already changed out. It was very slow, broken links. There was just issues with the I want to say not HTML, but more so the back end. Like the front end looked fine. The front end was okay. It was decent enough, passable, looked like a professional business, but the back end was just really ill optimized. A lot of the things that as business owners you're not looking at because you don't know what you're looking at. Um, but yeah, the back end was trash. Back end was pretty trash.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And so so before working with us, you were doing a lot of stuff yourself. You were spending money on advertising. It was generating leads, and like how far were you booked out?
At that time, I was stoked at 2 weeks. 2 weeks was super awesome. And once again, that wasn't peak efficiency either. That's like two guys on a job that only needed one person, but just trying to get them hours. Busy season would be 2 weeks, and during off times, December time or going into the New Year's when people are recovering from Christmas, we'd be fighting day to day.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And so it was kind of at that point you started looking for another like an agency or something to help you generate more business.
Yeah, yeah. I knew what I was doing wasn't working. Once again, hit a plateau. So just knew that wasn't running as good as it should.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And so at that point, you made a decision to look around, and so you came across us. I think you found us just in Google,
Mhm.
um, and so what, like, what kind of hesitations or what kind of skepticism did you have, if any?
Uh, a lot. Had a lot. Because once again, I was doing all this stuff myself. I didn't realize how much I truly didn't know. Um, but my skepticism pretty much came from past experiences of the previous ad company spending a few grand with them to have them manage it. My results were doing better than what they were producing. The website, just his responsiveness was the big factor for his as well. Was just trying to get something changed took months, months that we just didn't have. Trying to get any changes or anything done was a big issue that I had at that point in time. And communication, the communication was just so poor.
Gotcha, gotcha. So that kind of left it kind of left a bad taste in your mouth in terms of working with other people, and you were running ads yourself, and it was working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, skepticism
Um,
is just it's hard to differentiate until you actually use the service. Like you as business owners or whoever's going to end up watching this video, um, the hard part and skepticism just comes from seeing so many different faces within the industry. So many people that preach how easy it is to do yourself. Like if you take this course, a lot of course sellers, they're like, take this course, you'll learn how to make $1 million. Or just gurus. Yeah, we'll call it gurus. Like just
yeah,
a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit in this industry.
yeah, yeah. No, and we hear that. We hear that a lot. It's kind of crazy. And so let's fast forward. So we started working together. We took a look at what things you were doing. We implemented some tracking and to figure out where your revenue was actually coming from. And so, what kind of things, like, were you surprised about, or what kind of things did you appreciate about like our system and how it's different from what you were doing, or other things that you saw?
Um, I like the check-ins. Check-ins are really cool. Um, the check-ins with Miles was very helpful for the business. That's something that helped us out was getting a different frame of reference, different knowledge base. The advice that was given. What was surprising was how much leads fell through the cracks. Just because it was going through. So at that time, I did have two phones. I thought that was enough. I was like, oh, I'll see it, do it. Once again, I'm in the field. I'm trying to manage all this stuff too, and having a dedicated app was very helpful because I was losing things through my iPhone messages, just because I also had to sync to my personal phone. So there's people that texted me while I was on a roof that I didn't see until maybe a week later. There's even leads that I missed like 6 months later as I'm looking through to a different text message, and I'm like, oh no, I completely missed it. The amount of leads I missed was insane. The amount of calls that I missed was insane. And I didn't really notice it until I started using the Lead Maven CRM. Um, because it actually it's just a business number. You see all the business numbers, and then we did opt in pretty early for the AI message back, and it was scheduling for us. And I yeah, it's just so much things through the cracks. It's just wasted money. I was spending money on ads, and I was getting returns on the ads, but I wasn't messaging back. Same thing with the way I was running the ads too was through Facebook Messenger because I got a higher. It was cheaper per contact, even though I was getting trash, like just trash leads, trash conversations, people asking for jobs, stuff like that. That's wasting my time. But now I had my AI is called Mary, so I had Mary messaging people back, sifting through people that were actually interested, doing the follow-up. So things that like someone sends me a Facebook message, I don't get back to it till like 2 days later, which is my fault. Um, and they just never message back. So once we had Mary in place, the people that message are getting a response back in like a minute. So they're having full on conversations, and I just get a ding on my phone of, oh, you have an appointment in 20 minutes or something like that. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even know that something came in. So that was something that was really awesome. Just yeah, it's efficient. It's efficient. You're not going to be as efficient as a robot that's working while you're taking a crap, while you're sleeping, stuff like that. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of wasted money. I wasted so much money on obtaining the lead and just letting it go to crap. That's something that Miles also talked about is speed to lead. We live on a small island. We have Hawaiian time. I thought that kind of applied. It doesn't. It just makes your business look bad. That they're a high intent buyer looking to get on someone's schedule for a quote or even get the job done like right now. And that's another positive that I hear quite often is you guys are so responsive. You guys are on top of it. Like we've been calling these other companies and we can't even get a hold of them. Or they said that they get back to us and we never heard it from them again. And I laugh now because that's who we were too. People call in, no response, just click next. I mean, you do it yourself. Like you're looking for a restaurant to eat at and you're not sure if there's seating. So you call, no one answers, you call the next restaurant to see if they're taking any reses or they're going to order some food. It's the same exact thing, except for service-based business, it's a lot higher ticket. You just lost $800. You just lost $5,000. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's really big. I remember when we first turned on Mary, we got her trained up and installed, and she was, texting people, and she was activated on Messenger as well. And so, you saw an increase in jobs without before we even increased your ad spend,
Yeah.
because
Oh
it
yeah,
just
that's
followed up.
yeah. This was yeah. What I'm talking about right now is before I even use Miles to run my ads. This is when I'm still like I can do it myself. I just need a little help. I can do it myself. And yeah, this is still just the basic plan, I guess. Yeah, this also ties into my hesitation with using an agency, using someone else to help me out was I want to spend as little money as possible. I want to make sure that whatever he's proposing works. And thankfully, it did work. So uh, we have increased our spend with Miles, adding on more services. Yeah, originally I just wanted a AI chatbot. Then it turned into, can you help me with my website? I have disappeared from Google entirely. um, then it turned into, hey, I need a little bit of help with my ads. He does offer a lot of services that we've pretty much used almost all of them now. And it just helps. Like use one service, sales goes up. Use another service, sales goes up again. And that's what he says from the beginning is like, hey, you want to do this? You want to do this? You want to add this on? And I'm like, fuck that, money. And then I use it. I'm like, oh, now I get more money. Oh, crazy. And then we got to a point where my labor was actually the backlog. Because at that time the leads was the bottleneck. Then turned into my labor shortage was the bottleneck. Then now I'm actually kind of my bottleneck, and we're at a point where I need admin now.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the Google stuff too, like your I I'm looking at a map here. I'll share a screen and show you what I'm looking at. But your Google your dominance, I guess you could say, in Google Maps has shot up pretty considerably here. Let's see. Like each one of these, this is a whole island, right? And each one of these represents your ranking, right, at each one of these GPS locations. And you're not 100% yet. We haven't quite gotten the entire island, but you got a lot of number ones here. Like what is that, like how has that helped in terms of your business and generating more leads?
We pop up first.
Yeah.
Save money on Google. Just organically ranking it helps. And um, the good thing too is we do have a fair bit of reviews as well. Actually, when I started with Miles, I think we're at like 60 reviews, where I think we just passed 200 reviews recently. But on a Google ad, they're seeing your copy, they're seeing just the creative, they're not seeing your review. When you rank organically, well, if you have the reviews, if you're pushing reviews and doing good work, um, you're being compared 200 reviews to the next person in line is like 30 reviews, something like that. personally for me, I'd rather choose a company that has a higher 5-star review presence. That in my mind, that's just, oh, they're a better company. They probably do better work, or they're busier, or just better. So since my ranking shot up, and at that point, I disappeared. I think when I started with Miles, 3 months later, I think he actually brought it to my attention. Is like, I looked up pressure washing. You're not there. um, and that's when I had him kind of fix up the website, fix up my SEOs, because I just wasn't on the first page anymore. Even though I had the most amount of reviews, which at that time was 60. I disappeared, and turns out somebody was doing less than savory tactics to lower my original ranking while they were doing SEO for themselves. So they were able to get us back on. They actually did like an emergency package where put out a article that just shoots your ranking back up. So I came to him with that issue in like December, and then by January we're pretty much good to go again. And then yeah, that's another service I have him do is our SEO now. And even before that, we weren't ranking very far. So we kind of have the helo area just the way that Google Maps kind of works. It helps with your physical location, but we're very contained within just a 15-minute drive from our office. And then now we're number one on like 45 minutes to an hour away. So pretty helpful.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. And like as you know, each month that goes by, we're working on expanding the territory, and eventually we'll have the whole island. But for people watching, like the distance across is like 80 miles or so, you know, so it's a pretty big area. And yeah, it does save on ad spend because if you show up organically in Google, then you're not paying for that click, you
Yeah.
know.
And then I mean, we hit the target goal that we had set in place as well. Because since it is that far away, it's a long drive time. It's a lot of wasted gas. It's not wasted, but it's a lot of gas. It's my guy's labor time as well. So my main goal was to just pretty much rank where we're located and the surrounding areas, the things that are like 45 minutes to an hour away. Um, which yeah, we hit. So that's good. And then it's
Yeah,
still we're also competing against the guy that did the negative stuff. He's still putting money into his SEO, and we're still ranking higher than him, even in his own location, which is pretty stupendous.
yeah, yeah. No, and it's phenomenal. And you know, you do really good work, and you get good reviews, and then you combine that with, you know, the updates we did to your website to make it load faster and look better to Google, and all these things compound, and you got a pretty good, you know, dominance on the island, and you're creating a moat. You know, it's making it that much harder for your competitors to kind of to break into the territory. You know, yeah. You mentioned goals, so I wanted to chat on that. Um, so you mentioned in, you know, 2022, 2023 around 300K, and then so let's talk about like how was 2024, and then more recently how did last year wrap up in terms of
Okay.
revenue?
Yeah. So I think I only started using you towards pretty much the end of 2024. Um, and actually at that time I didn't even know my numbers. I thought I knew my numbers, and then I was like, hey, can you give me your numbers? I kind of want to see how you've been doing. I overestimated the crap out of my numbers. At that time when I was doing threes, I thought I was clearing five. I didn't even know what was going on. But yeah, so Miles, I think we were only working together for maybe 3 months before 2024 ended. We ended 2024 at 456, something close to those numbers. So 3 months, possible 150,000 gain in a slow season. And once again, I reached out because I needed help with my just getting customers and retaining customers. So, and that's also the hardest time. Like October to January, February is a pretty rough time for the industry we're in. My first year, I almost went out of business during that time because I had no calls, I had nobody reaching out whatsoever. So yeah, 24 closed at about 450, give or take. And then last year we actually hit a cool goal. When I first talked to him about the goals, what I want to see happen, I was like, yeah, I want to hit a mill. Let's hit a mill. Like 3 years, I think that's a realistic goal. You know, we're at 300, just hit 450. I think in 3 years we should be able to hit a mill, you know, 150,000 gain, 150, 150. And we hit it 1 year later. So 2025, we hit 1.1. And yeah, that is part of my language, but fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty phenomenal. It's an excellent accomplishment. And so if you like compare what things are like now, right? How is life like? What is work like now versus versus a couple years ago?
Drink a lot less alcohol now. During that time was a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty. Just yeah, it was just a lot of stress. Because I'm trying to wear so many hats, because I'm trying to be in multiple places at once. I was just at my wits end. Finish off the day just drinking like 6, 7 beers, relax, calm down. But you're still thinking about the business. You're still like, oh, I still got to do X, Y, and Z. But now the work life balance is a lot better. Actually, during that time, I was working pretty much 7 days a week, and I couldn't separate myself was because I had not just myself to take care of, but also the people I had working with me. At that point in time, yeah, I was just stress, stress about trying to give them work, trying to make sure that I have something for myself. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to discuss it online, but during that time, I didn't even pay my taxes. From 22, 23, 24, I didn't have money to pay my taxes, let alone try use someone's services, which thankfully I am now. Because this year I was able to catch up on my taxes, paid stupid amount of taxes and all the penalties and fees because I just didn't have money. I taken a it was essentially a crapshoot. It was a shot in the dark to use Miles's services, and it was kind of make or break at that point in time. It's like I already got a bunch of taxes I owe, I got bills and at that time too, I think I was also pulling out loans to make payroll to pay bills that I had. Um, and then I mean I still got loans now, but it's for expansion and stuff like that. So it's very different uses for yeah. Things are just it's a lot better now,
Mm.
and now we've kind of switched out from survival mode to scale. Um, and when you're in the scale mode, it's a lot less stressful than survival mode.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And so that is a big, you know, transition, a big switch. And so what would you say to someone who's like on the fence about working with us and incorporating Lead Maven and using AI to, you know, like answer their calls and get back to people and like what would you say to people on the fence?
Should use the services. They really should look into themselves, make sure that they are ready to grow, ready to scale, um, that they're ready to put in the work. Because once again, your product isn't a end all be all. They also have to be ready to put in the work, the recommendations that you give them, um, to implement it and actually follow through with it. Because he can give you all the knowledge in the world. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Um, so you just got to be ready to go and add-ons. If you're financially able to do it, do it. It's just gonna grow. Like that's what I've been able to see is if I did these things earlier, I'd probably be at a higher cap, but I implemented them a little bit slower because I was hesitant. I wanted to make sure that the first thing that he told me works before I go on to do the next thing and the next thing and the next. So people on the fence, just be ready to fucking grow. Be ready to hire more people. Make sure that your training is gonna keep up with the standards that you personally have. Because if you don't have the ability to scale or the training ready, sorry, my wife's in the background, but if you don't have the training ready, you're gonna hurt your business because when you get to when you just start scaling, you got to make sure that your standards are still being hit because the leads will flow in, and if you can't do them at a high satisfactory rate, it's just gonna look negative. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Like at the product, like make sure you're actually providing a good service that you know, before you scale. That's a good like sequence uh to get it in, yeah. Um I was gonna ask you something. Oh, so yeah, yeah, you mentioned incrementally, right? So first we started with just the lead management and like the CRM, you know, for marketing to track everything, and then we added on Mary, your AI, which followed up with leads and you know help book appointments and gather project info, and then we added on SEO, right? The website kind of back behind the scenes website revamp and then SEO, and the latest addition was the ads management.
yep.
Um, yeah, and so like talk to me about how, you know, how has that been, you know, delegating or outsourcing the ads and like and the performance that you've seen from that?
It's been good. It's been good. Um, I was maybe changing out my creative once a month, if that. I didn't even know what to do for my creatives. If something worked, I would just spam the crap out of it. I would do the same exact thing with very little variations. I'd have multiple ads running, but I wouldn't have any testing kind of going on to see how good it is. It'd just be me looking at the cost per click or cost per conversion and like, oh, that must be working. There just was no variations. Earlier I was telling Miles that right now the ads he's running is it's popping. It's going crazy. They just started so they just you'll get like emails or text every single time that they change it up. But I think yesterday or the day before that they just changed it up again. And this one's really doing really well. Um yeah, they you still gotta supply like the base video stuff like that. But they'll just keep changing, editing, either big edits, small edits to niche it down until it finally starts working. Um, and once again, I flooded the market with my ads. Like I was spending, yeah, it was, yeah. I thought the market was capped. I thought the market was capped, but just from yesterday, and our ad spend's not like the craziest amount for what it could be, but I think we got 5 or 6 booked phone calls and appointments that I just talked to today. And yes, actually, no, it was all today. Actually, it was actually I think the ads just started running yesterday, and I had 6 phone calls from that ad. I already closed 2 of those deals, and the 4 others are very interested as well. So yeah, one day 6 ad or six leads. I'd call it popping.
Yeah, yeah, no, love it. And the testing is it's really important, especially with, Meta and their algorithms and stuff is constantly test. And so we're in March 2026 right now. Do you mind sharing like how much you put into ads just year to date and what kind of ballpark, projects,
Yeah.
invoices you sent out?
So year to date for Facebook spend, we're at 9,300. Um, our sales on our so we have 2 CRMs. We use House Call Pro for our main one for the bookings for just having our schedule, and then we use Miles's one mainly for follow up for the automation stuff like that. But from House Call, we're at I think it's like 240 right now, and that's people that have already paid out. Um, and that's not counting the other avenues of payment, and that's not counting the jobs that we've been rained out for the last 3 weeks. So there's a lot of painting that we're still trying to finish up, and it's not counting the people on the schedule. If we're to count the things that we haven't been paid out for, we're probably closer to what was the what was the number that we kind of came? What's in house call?
Let's see. I think it was he spent about 9,300 year to date. Or yeah, year to date. So just the last couple months. And then yeah, 240 was invoices.
Yeah. So if we're at
240K, and then if you add
240 for the
other,
last 3 months, then we'd be closer to probably three for what should be paid out in the next 6 days if we just get 3 more days of good weather.
yeah, yeah. So about 300 grand cash, collected or payments collected from a
Mhm.
9,300 spend.
That's
It's
not bad.
that's not a bad
300
return.
grand
Yeah.
for for 10 grand. That's really not bad.
No, no, very cool. And then last question on the AI, like having the system in place to see where you're at, your leads are coming from, and the automated follow-ups and the talk to me about how that and you brought on an admin like someone to help as well,
Mhm.
right? And so talk to me about how's quality of life now versus versus a couple years ago.
It's just good. I'm not responding to emails and texts at like 9 p.m. I'm not getting yelled at by my wife as much working on the weekend or we're out eating dinner, something like that. That's one thing that I told Miles when we first started using Mary was I'm eating dinner and I'm like actively watching Mary message people back, get them on the appointment scheduled in. Like quality of life is definitely a lot better. It's a lot less arguments, man. Just yeah, once you can actually just have someone else do the busy work so you can kind of focus on the larger task of how to grow, how to become better at closing, what you can do better in your process. Like it doesn't seem like it because it's such a simple task of just responding to text, stuff like that, but it continues to interrupt you in your flow as you're trying to work on stuff. So productivity is just a lot higher. Quality of life is a lot higher. Yeah, I think that's also part of why we were able to get to the million was I could focus on how to improve just what we're currently doing. Because I don't have to be in front of my desk missing phone calls, or yeah, if I'm not in front of my desk, I'm missing phone calls, I'm missing messages. Things come in over the weekend, like we're on a trip or something. Yeah, actually, yeah, even trips. Now we can go on trips, and I can have the AI set up the appointments for when we come back on trips. The admin that we, well, yeah, actually, I just needed the admin. I was even catch 22. So even though quality of life is better because I don't have to message back as much, we're getting influx of leads that still need my attention. So the admin's kind of once again doing a little bit more of the busy work, helping me out, organizing things even further, so I can just have a very sustained and efficient workflow. Reminding me to do stuff like that. Once again, it's just so much things get missed that go through the cracks that the Mary or AI really does help to catch. That she can even put tasks or to dos that need a little bit of human interaction, like giving the people the actual price that book the appointment.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it makes a lot of sense. And then you don't, that phone rings or that text comes in, you don't need to be glued to your phone. You get that time freedom and that brain space. Like it creates some space in your brain
Yeah.
to focus on other things. Like improving your hiring or your training or your team processes. And so, speaking on that, before we wrap up, like when I talk to other painters and roofers, remodelers, and pressure washers, like they're they're asking me like, well, what makes you different? Like, what makes you different from the other agency running ads? You know, and so I'd like to kind of ask you, like, like what makes us different from the agency next door that's running ads.
I think the biggest difference is the biggest difference between your agency and other agencies is it's more than just a lead generation. It's more than AI automation. It's also your ability to give insights into our business, because I don't think many other agencies are asking for profit and losses, stuff like that, ways that things can kind of be improved, or you give advice, like you'll just through casual conversation, just, oh, how's it been going? Yeah, once again, that's the difference too, is the other guys, they're not going to be having sit downs with you. It's probably email or text correspondence. It's actual Zoom calls to see how the business is doing, seeing how things could possibly improve, checking in to see if the recommendation that you gave prior to, if we implemented it, and if we did, how successful was it. um, I think just the ability to communicate with you and actually have sit down conversations is huge. Even though it's through Zoom, um, it it helps. Like the other guys, I don't want to just crap on other guys. I'm pretty sure there's some other guys that are very good as well, but it's different. It's more than just simply helping to manage or a CRM. It's tools and implementations that you've talked to other businesses that you had them also do that worked. So you give us the same recommendation. It's like, well, this worked for XYZ. Have you thought about implementing this? And then we implement it and it works. And it's like, oh, crazy. um, and yeah, it's also just the mindset shifts that really helped me personally was uh, my ability to sell. Things like your vocals, believing in what you're selling. Like you, I had issues with my confidence when I was trying to sell someone a product, even though I knew that we did a really good job, just from people's past experiences of, oh, you guys are expensive. I did it for $300 last time, and then like that just screws it. I'm like, oh yeah, well, you want 15% off? like, um, yeah, it's just it seems like you have a genuine interest in seeing success rather than just seeing consistent, recurring payment. You have that genuine interest, and also if he has the incentive to keep you in business, because if you stay in business and grow, you can use more services. So even though you're making more money, he's able to make a little bit more. It's just because as you grow, he'll grow with you. So that's what I thought was very helpful, as there's just so many different tools that you guys offer that allow for you to grow with us.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's really that's a good point. Like aligned incentives. Like we're in business to help you make more business. so that in turn we can help you even more. And it's a and grow with you. And you're
Yeah.
like the perfect example of that, of what you started with, and then adding on, and then adding on more, and then you know, um, yeah, very cool. Well, great, hearing your success and what you've achieved, and you hit your 3-year goal in
In
one
one
year and a
year.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 year. And I'm looking forward to doing another check in with you. I mean, I think 6 months from now, you're basically getting it to the point where systems and scaling.
Yeah.
Like now that you cross that $1.1 million mark, it's kind of like, okay, what do we need to put in place to scale and grow even further? But anyway, I appreciate you sitting down and sharing your experience. Anything else before we wrap up?
Uh, Whoever's watching this video, just take a gamble. It's not exactly a gamble, but whoever's watching, just give it a shot. If it doesn't work, cancel. But that's exactly the mindset that I had was, if it doesn't work, fuck this guy, I'm out. But I'm still around right now, I guess, singing his praises as well. Yeah, I think it's the best decision I made for my business was to use Miles. Yeah, fuck, we're stuck at 300 grand and now we're at we're at a mill. And right now is not even the busy season, so there's a lot more to be had, a lot more scaling that I want to do this year. Uh, Take the gamble, spend money on yourself to try and improve your life. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, thanks again, Caleb. Really looking forward to working with you, and we got to go out and celebrate that crossing the mill mark. That's a
Yeah.
big achievement. Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
do.
All
Okay.
right,
All
all right. Thanks,
right,
Caleb.
Miles. Have a good one.
Bye.